God, these men, these people that are in this awesome force of life, this great expression of themselves, because in my opinion, this 21 convention was the best balance of speakers and attendees. I mean, everybody was on the same wavelength, or almost everybody. It was pretty amazing.
The dialogue was incredible.
Yes.
The dialogue was incredible. You could relate to.
And so why is that important? Why is that necessary right now with men who are in this movement of change?
Oh, Lord, because I don't think it's being expressed.
Right.
There's no outlet. So for example, and I can only speak from my own vantage point. When I write, when I do these things, I'm in complete isolation, and many times I'm literally in the dark doing it because I prefer to work in the dark because I hate fluorescent lights. But I'm in the dark writing these things. I'm in the dark thinking about these things, and I'm not necessarily sharing these things directly with people. I don't know how this is going to be fielded or played. I mean, I can release a little bit here and there, and trust me, I test it out to a degree. But you don't know how it's going to be received until you put it out there. How does a product sell? How is it received? Then you know. And the 21 Convention is an incredible platform for testing that out, putting that out there, and having that returned. Yeah. You would think that, for example, my crowning achievement would have been the standing ovation I got.
Yeah.
That's typical. But I wish the cameras were rolling, and I don't think they were. Was as I was getting off that stage, there was a line of men to embrace me.
Right.
To physically hold me, embrace me, call me brother, tell me I wasn't alone, and to share in that vulnerability, because it was an incredibly raw moment of letting myself be vulnerable and being received in return that you don't have expressed. We only applaud at a distance. Right. I was embraced coming off that stage.
Yeah, man. I mean, I don't think anybody could have done what you. I mean, we're all our individual expressions, but what you did at this convention, being, having the responsibility of the keynote speech. Man, it was like I was talking about this in one of the previous recordings. I was like, yo, man, when I brought Sock on stage, I said this guy is known for giving after every convention that I've been. And then you said that's tough to live up to.
It's terrible.
And you blew it away.
I did not think so. We can talk about. I very
you have to see it though, Sock. You don't know until you see the video. You won't know.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, you have your impression of what you did, and part of that is clouded even to you because when you're doing it, you're not doing anything else, and therefore you can't self-supervise.
But
I can tell you that it was wonderful. It was remarkable, and when you see the video, you'll understand how remarkable it was.
I would sit down and say this: compare any of the speeches I've done compared to that last one. I did something distinctly different than the last one.
Absolutely.
And I hate to say it. God damn you guys. It's one thing to give advice. It's another to take it. But can you imagine how bitter and difficult it is to take your own damn advice and actually put it out there? So to sit down and say that, it's like, I'm going to sit down and do this. I'm going to do a step out of my comfort zone. I'm going to release myself to a moment. Instead of overanalyzing, overdoing things, I'm going to sit down and say, you've got this. Allow the moment to come in. You both stole my damn lines. And I sit down and go, and not only that, I don't, come on, and honest to God, I was tired, I was drained until, you get called out during your speech, and I told you after your thing, thanks, asshole, for a shot in the ass. I'm now wired up on like caffeine and adrenaline, having not only been called out for how long during your presentation, but girlfriend been brought up on presentation.
Called out, this is so you say that way, and you said it about the 2012 thing too. I don't see it that way at all. In fact, I think it's helpful, because one of the things, number one, you're a speaker, number two, you're an exemplary speaker. You are literally an example that's being held up for these men. And I am just continuing with that. I am showing what is exemplary about you, and it's not calling you out if I was calling you on your shit, then I'd worry about that. And you'd be right to do it, but I'm not. I'm calling you on your virtues.
And it's trust, but you're not comfortable to it because guess what? We're not shown each other's virtues. We're not shown, and because of that, I'm not used to it. That was one of the things I was really glad I could sit down and contrast War Machine when we talk about when you're only alpha and you only have alpha to go to. Not only here's the dangers of it and point to a direct example, okay, but then to show a positive experience and a positive alternative from one of the alumni speakers who's physically in the room, who's physically available. You sit down and say, we're talking about mixed martial arts and combatives and defensive skills and everything Ed talks about, and how does that deal in masculinity and his role appropriately? Here's a man who's living it. I joke that he's all art, no martial. He's killing me. He goes, dude, you're killing my vibe. And I'm like, no, but he exemplifies it. Most guys can, that do these things, it's all martial and no art. There's no philosophy, there's no sense of being. But we recognize men are transformed. One of the things I talked about knowing you during your worst years, you talked about that. And I sat down and said, yeah, but I also see when Ed started having an influence in your life, and the dramatic transformation you came. And I was able to say that to Ed too. Now, the only part I missed in that whole thing, honestly, was
this is what he means by being called out.
This is one of those things where the only thing I miss in that is I actually want to see Ed hit you in the head.
You should see when I hit Ed in the head.
I think honestly that
he
was
then
part
goes
of the
off.
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah.
I know TC actually brought that up. Whereas I know exactly where this comes in. This is when men are brought into a culture of men, whether it's a pickup organizations done healthily, whether it's a dojo or anything else, or the 21 Convention. When you make room for male culture, for men to respond, to have examples, to raise the bar of expectation, we're talking as virtuous behaviors.
Talking about a lot of crazy stuff. We're talking about masculinity. We're talking about the roots of philosophy. We get into feminism, and we get into just how to be the ideal man. The philosophy behind that action is that, God, these men, these people that are in this awesome force of life, this great expression of themselves, because in my opinion, this 21 Convention was the best balance of speakers and attendees. I mean, everybody was on the same wavelength, you know, or almost everybody. It was pretty amazing.
The dialogue was incredible.
Yes.
The dialogue was incredible. You could relate to people.
So why is that important? Why is that necessary right now with men who are in this movement of change?
Oh, Lord, because I don't think it's being expressed.
Right.
There's no outlet. You know, so for example, if you, and I can only speak from my own
Right.
vantage point. When I write, when I do these things, I'm in complete isolation. And many times I'm literally in the dark doing it because I prefer to work in the dark because I hate fluorescent lights. But I'm in the dark writing these things. I'm in the dark thinking about these things. And I'm not necessarily sharing these things directly with people. I don't know how this is going to be fielded or played. I mean, I can release a little bit here and there, and trust me, I test it out to a degree. But you don't know how it's going to be received until you put it out there. How does a product sell? How is it received? Then you know. And the 21 Convention is an incredible platform for testing that out, putting that out there, and having that returned.
Here, and that's what I was talking to Don about. It's not the ideal man, it's the ideal Greg Swan, it's the ideal Socrates, it's the ideal Steve Mayetta, it's the ideal Don Watkins.
That's kind of like the myth of the alpha male.
Oh yeah,
promoting in this, or like,
you know, you're absolutely right. No, you're absolutely right.
That's what he's up to. That's what we were talking about. Is for both of us to rise to the challenge that we're issuing to other people.
This is something which is amazing because again, you have moving speeches, but online